So in this video, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways that you can use a whiteboard during your Teams lessons with students. The first one is built into Teams. So if we go up to the share sheet in the top right, and you'll see that you've got Microsoft Whiteboard. Now when I click on the whiteboard, I'm going to get a couple of different options. I can either have this as a present-only whiteboard, so just I as the teacher can edit the whiteboard, students are just viewing it, or I can have it as a collaborative where everyone can edit it. For the purposes of this video, because there's a few different options with it, I'm going to set it as a collaborative whiteboard, but obviously it's lesson dependent for you. So you can see that you've got the teacher whiteboard here, and on the right hand side you've got the student's view of the whiteboard as well. So we've got a range of different options that we can use in this whiteboard. We've got some freehand pens. Now I'm absolutely awful at this, but I'll just give it a go to show you. And you can see as I start to write test that it's appearing on the student's screen as well, on their whiteboard. I can also use a text note. So I can say, this is a note, nice imaginative note there. And I can move the note around, I could change the font colour, that type of thing. And you'll see that it's all appearing on the student's whiteboard in front of them. And because it's a collaborative whiteboard, the student can also edit this, and you'll see as they edit, it appears on the main noteboard as well. Now, when we've finished with the noteboard, with the whiteboard, what we can do is we can go to the settings and we can export the whiteboard as an image. So we can save what's on the whiteboard for later on. We've also got the option here where we can turn on or off the student's ability to edit the whiteboard. So we might have a section where we want students to add some thoughts, but we want editing turned off for all the rest of it. So that's how we do that. So that's the built-in whiteboard as part of Teams. Next, I'm going to show you how you can do this if you're using a separate device. So I'm going to do this on an iPad to show you how you can use that as a whiteboard, but I'll talk through ways that you could do this as well on a desktop computer. Now this time I'm going to show you how to use a whiteboard via an iPad. So I'm in Teams, I'm in the meeting, and I'm going to go to the share sheet and I'm going to share my screen. Now at this point I'm going to share to Microsoft Teams, and you'll see in the main meeting that the screen of my iPad appears in that meeting. So at this point you've got my iPad screen in the main meeting, and if I go back home you'll see that I've got my apps available, and I'm going to use an app called GoodNotes. Any drawing or whiteboard style app will work. GoodNotes is just the one that I use in general. And you'll see that anything that I put on my screen is appearing on the student's screen as well as part of the meeting. This isn't a collaborative approach. This is very much an information giving approach. So the students can't edit this. This is just what I'm putting on my screen, and the students can just see it. So I tend to use this approach more for a discussion aspect where students are giving their points and I'm making a central record of them. If we're not doing something collaborative, for example, where students are adding their own thoughts. And you'll see there's a video on how to do that on the channel as well. So you can do this with, as I say, any app on an iPad. You could also use the same approach that we used previously, where instead of using the whiteboard that's built into Teams, you can just share your screen and use any app to achieve the same thing. So you could have a Word document, you could use PowerPoint, you could use Paint, you could use anything. You're just sharing that screen. The whiteboard that's built into Teams is just a specific piece of software that is part of the Teams package. So a few different options for using whiteboards as part of your Teams lessons.